Hello everyone, this is Juan Sarmiento and today is Friday, February the 10th. Let's take a look here at our positions. I don't have any new trades, so this could be a good time to look at our trades and see what needs to be changed. Start with organizing them alphabetically and take a quick look at how is our year-to-date profits, about 860 some odd dollars, and that looks good. Let's take a look at Adobe for starters. Okay, you can see that Adobe, we enter a trade here and did a roll up. Okay, that means that I exchange one of my long calls for by closing it at 350 for one at the same strike price. I'm sorry, at the same expiration with a higher strike price. Okay, so it was 350, now it's 375. Let's take a look at that. And here it is. And you might say, well, how do you know that you're making money? Well, compared to the original, you should copy all these two, analyze trade and analyze trade, and then hide the current position, and this is how much money you have made on the Adobe. Take a look at the deltas, they're neutralized. That's what I want to do most of the time. That's a way to collect my profits, is to, if it is too high, the delta, you just roll it up, which means roll up the one call. Now, this is not exactly what we have now. If you take a look, we have a four-legged trade and then the long call at a higher strike price. I'm going to leave it for now. We don't need to change anything. But if you want to exit the trade, you would have to do something like perhaps exit the calls and the puts separately. That's one way you approach it, because you can't really form a trade with 5 legs. You can only form a trade with 4 legs at the most. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. And I'm happy with the way it is because the deltas are neutralized, and yeah, if the stock rallies from here, great, but if it collapses, it will be fine too. Let's move on to AXP. Same philosophy. Okay, AXP, you can see that we entered this recently, so what I have here is exactly the trade that I have. I have made no modifications. To make sure of that, go to the monitor tab, and here you put 30, 60 days, and then you see that that's the only trade for AXP. Okay, there is no adjustments of any sort. We look at the expiration is March 3, and go to the Analyze tab and say Add Simulated Trades, and you'll see that the March 3 is 21 days from now. That's plenty of time. I would only be concerned about doing the rollover or closing the trade 7 days to expiration. Okay, because we don't have February 17, I don't worry about it. Let's move on to COF. In this case, I have, if you take a look here, that's my trade here. Okay, and you can see that I have a profit of 659. If I were to close the trade now, it will be like this, $660. Do I want to change anything? Well, let's see. Deselect this. Make sure that that's what you have. Yes, it is. Okay, you can just use it like this, or view it as your open position, because I have made no modifications. So what you see here, the actual position, is similar or identical to your simulation. And sometimes it's better to see the simulation, and then with the simulation you can say analyze the opposite, and this will give you what would you make, what would you get in credit if you were to close that position. That's what this is. And if I do, then I end up with a straight line. You can see here. All right, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay on this trade until something more interesting, a rise in volatility, for example, would be interesting for me to see. Do I want to close the trade, or keep trading it. Okay, for now I'm happy with that. Let's move on to CRM. Okay, this stock rallied very strongly and now is pulling back a little bit, and the stochastics and the TTM are telling me, yeah, it will continue to pull down a little bit. Let's go to the Analyze tab. Okay, here's what we have. We have 2 and 2 February 17 calls and puts. Okay, we might want to roll this over. Let's go to the Monitor tab and see. Okay, so I had the original trade. We can copy that, and we have a roll up from 750 to 175, and that's a profit taking move. So when we did that, presumably we made money. Yes, we did. And now we have a negative 25 delta, and which is adequate because the stock is going down. Okay, however, we have this February calls, and as I just told you, that's 7 days to expiration, so we need to worry about, are we going to roll it over or not? Well, you can roll over the calls, but the puts are way out of the money, and so next Friday we can just close the put side and add for the next month. But for the calls we need to do the rollover. Because I'm making money, I would like to do the rollover. The rollover will neutralize my deltas a little bit. Let's see. So I grab here the calls and I right click and I say Analyze Rolling. And that's just rollover. It's not a roll up or roll down, it's a rollover, because I'm going now to a month from now. Okay, I want to give myself 21, 28 days. So let's try the March. You can try the March 17th, and that will be a full 35 days. I think 28 is good. So let's click here, and we are closing the February 17. Look down here below. Okay, let's close this and the shorts calls for March the 10th, same strike price. Make sure it's March 10th. There you go. And so that gives us a credit of $2.97, because they have two. That's equivalent to, let's say it was $6, but then you multiply times 100 is $600. What I'm getting for this, getting back, because essentially what I'm doing is collecting back my money that I had invested, at least some of it. So what does that do with my deltas? Well, there were 27. It neutralizes it to +2. I'm happy with that, so let's do that. Confirm and send. Okay, one more thing while we wait for that to fill. One more thing we can do is roll up one of the calls. You see, we have 3 calls here for May 150 calls. Okay, we can roll that up just like we did the other one here. So all that is we need to repeat this trade. Analyze trade, and we are not going to get $16.25. We're going to get $14.07. But I'd like to get this trade filled first. So how do we make it get filled quicker? Well, right now we are asking less than the mark, and that's fine. That means it could get filled very quickly. So we can just reduce it to 290, something like that. Reduce it by 5 or 3 cents increments, or in this case decrements or decrements. Okay, so we'll wait until that gets filled, and then we'll take care of that CRM, because I want to get my money out, and I also want to get credit for the roll up. The put stays here. Why? Well, because it's eroding very quickly. Next week we could let it expire worthless and add, and that just filled. Okay, great. So let's copy that. Hide. And so we could do this roll up. See what happens right now. Our deltas is 2.2 delta. So if I do a roll up, that makes it negative again, which is what we might want to do. I'm not sure I want to. Let me take a look at the chart. It looks quite bearish right now, like it's declining, but I don't want to commit to reducing my deltas. Let's leave it alone. But next week, if the stock rallies up again, we might do that. Take profits. Okay, so this is what my trade looks right now. You may adjust the whole thing, but I think this represents well what we have done, and you can see it clearly. We entered the trade, we did a roll up, and now we have done the roll over of the call side. Let's go to Cisco. Let's show all. Okay, this doesn't look too good. The calls are expiring today. Let me take a look at the chart. Well, it has been declining, which is good, but the stock is due to report earnings. Let's take a look at the monitor tab, go to the account statement and look at Cisco here. This is a loser, so I don't know when I opened it, so it may have been the previous year, let's say 90 days ago. Oh, you see, since the days ago, we have a very tiny profit since we started the trade. This is PL and L difference between the opening and what we have now. So I'm just going to close this trade. I don't think it's doing us any good right now. So how do I do that? Well, we have 1, 2, 3 calls called legs and 2 put legs. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's go to the adjust simulated trades, and you see this February call that's sort of expiring today, and we really need to close it because it's sort of getting in the way. It has a $2 value, intrinsic value, so we are going to close that. So click on ask just once. Okay, we're going to adjust that in a minute. Scroll down till you find more calls here. Here we go. And press the control key again. Press the control key and click on the ask. We're closing this, so we're gonna click on the bid, and that adds a net minus, you see, and do the same for this one here. Click on the bid, and there it is. Then you adjust the numbers here. That's a 3-legged trade. Okay, so we have February 45 calls. How many legs? How many calls we have? 10. What about this one here? 45 calls, 17th of March. We have 10 of those. Make sure that this is correct, otherwise. And then here the 50 call, we only have 2. Okay, so that's gonna close the call side. And this is what it looks like, and when I close it, it looks like this. We get $670 from it. No, maybe more. Let's see. 45 call. What am I doing? This was supposed to be 15. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Make sure that you get it right by selecting all the calls, 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 and calls, so that my closing trade will neutralize and give me a straight line. Okay, so 29.91, create duplicate, and that's the three legs on the call side. You can do that because there's plenty of difference between the puts and the calls in terms of strike price and where the stock is. So the puts don't have much value, the calls do. Let's do the put now. You can select the two puts, analyze closing, calendar put. Okay, so now we select the puts, one here, one there. And of course we're not closing everything because the long puts are 17 and I have only 10. So let's go custom and put 17 puts. And that should make me a straight line. Good. And we're going to get 1720. Okay. Create duplicate. How much money are we going to get? Confirm and send. $1,700. Send that off. And I will wait. I usually watch it like a hawk and start reducing. Like I sat here and it's already gone down my credit, so I'm gonna act quickly, cancel, replace, and reduce. See, the difference between those two prices is kind of wide, so you need to go a little more aggressively because you want to get filled. And same with the put side. No, that's the put side, the call side. Somewhere here. And reduce it until it gets filled, because what you want is to get out. You don't want to sit around, particularly when some of them are expiring today. But I would just look at it again and again today until it gets filled. Let's move on to Gilead. Okay, so in this case, you can see here that the shorts are expiring today and the longs are expiring next week. So we want to get out of this one too, right? There's no point in, you can transform it into vertical spreads, but I really don't care to do that. How do you transform it? Well, the call side, you could do this analyze rolling, and you have 9. So you go to February. Okay, this 9 February 10th calls, you would roll it up and away for next week, and then you end up with a vertical 9. And then you have this 80 call, but then you have this other here. It's just a mess. So instead of, let's just get out. All right, so let's do the put side first because it's easier. Analyze closing, vertical, calendar, put side, 7 and 7. We have 14 longs, so you need to customize that. And we made 14 puts. To make sure, deselect everything. Select your puts again. And select the trade you're proposing, and it should give you a straight line, and you can get 10 cents out of that. But there are so many, it turns out to be $70. We'll sit there, and then the calls are a little more complicated, so go here to the add simulated trades and look for your calls here. And this is a short, so we're gonna buy. So click on the ask, just one for now. And here, the February 17th, you're gonna sell this. So press on the bid, and here on the bid again, here. And then you just deselect everything, select your calls, adjust your numbers. The long February, what we are buying the short 9. There should be 9 here. The second here is the 85. There are only 3 of them, so we're gonna sell them. So negative. And here 9 calls, so we put a 9 here too. And that should close, that should make this line a flat line. And we're gonna get $2.36. Create duplicate times 30 times 300 rather. It gives me $708. Send it off, and we'll wait until it gets filled, or we adjust the prices, but that's a little later. Let's go to GS, Goldman Sachs. Okay, this is another complicated trade. Go back here and say 190 days. Well, we started here, this one on the 4th of November, so it's not quite 190 days. Could be more like 120. Okay, 110, 100, until it disappears. The last trade here visible is my entry. And go to the, check out GS here and Goldman Sachs and look at the difference. Oh, we have been losing money for this, so I'm done with it because it's a loser. Okay, let's get out of that. And you can see you have these February calls, 1, 2, 3 calls and 3 puts. Okay, you know the drill. Go to the add simulated trades. Let's get this done. First the calls, click on the ask because you're buying it back, roll it down to March 17th. Here they are, and you're selling this one, so press the control key so that it forms a compound trade. Okay, so we're going to go to 350 and just click on the bid because you're selling this one. There it is. And then we have one more here, bid. Okay, and we're gonna get 1530 for those. And to make sure, deselect everything, select the calls to confirm that your trade is turning into a flat line. Good. Confirm and send. And on the put side, we do pretty much the same thing. Okay, come over here, scroll up until you see your put. Oh, the GS got filled rather nicely. Okay, let's look here. We have this put is worth nothing, so let's close that right now. We're buying it back for 1 penny. No need to complicate it by putting it into a complex trade. You can do the same for the puts, for the longs. Do it one at a time. And then same with this one, because one trade is easier than a combination. And when the combination is worthless, like this one here, when one of the items in the combination is worthless, it complicates matters. Okay? All right. So here's the other for 1 penny. Yeah, that should get filled. It doesn't matter, um, because it's so out of the money, it would expire worthless at the end of the day. But I want to put that there so you know to buy your garbage. Don't buy it back. Buy it back, because you never know what is going to happen between now and closing. But I don't expect anything, but here it is. Okay, let's go to STX. This stock has been outperforming. Let's take an Analyze tab, Risk Graph. Okay, and here we have a very good performer, and you see we have March for the shorts, June for the longs. I don't need to change anything. Here's what the trade looks like right now. We have today $90, $97 of profits, overall 634. And TSM, same thing. February, that's next week, and this is a winner. Okay, so what do I want to do? You can get out of it. You might say, well, why would I stay? I already made my profit. Well, you never know. I want to create the habit of leave the trades as long as possible, because you never know how much the stock is going to move, even if you have made your money. But right now we want to roll this calls and puts. Okay, I'm going to roll the calls only because the puts are out of the money, and then we'll see what happens next week. Okay, and we have to go to March the 17th, and let's roll that up. Roll it over. Okay, March 17th, only the call side. Okay, time to check on everything else. Make sure that we're getting something here done. Cisco has not been filling. I'm gonna just reduce my ask for them myself, so to make sure that they get filled. I don't want to sit here and find out on Monday that I've been assigned. Okay. That was my Cisco one part filled. This one, the natural should fill naturally because it's not natural naturally, but it's not. This is, as you can see, my ask is higher than the mark, so we're gonna cancel that. Cancel replace. Keep moving them until they all get filled. And I think let's moderate this. Okay, I think I'm gonna say that's all for today, and you know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to get those fields one way or another. Otherwise, come Monday I will have assignments, and I don't want that. Not that it's a big deal, but I just want rather than do my trading once a week, at least for this presentation. That's all for today. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.